We would like to start by thanking all of you for joining us today. We know that you've been given a great deal of new information both last week and this week, and we certainly don't wish to add to anyone's sense of being overwhelmed. We're going to be presenting some information to you today that's specific to how we are going to support our students with IEPs during comprehensive distance learning. This presentation is being recorded, and you will have access to this information after so that you can read through each slide on your own. But for our purposes today, I'll just be reviewing the information as it generally pertains to IEPs supports at Putnam High School. If you have specific questions regarding your student and their IEP, you can contact the case manager and we would be happy to help you. We are in the process of contacting all the freshmen and new students and their parents to let them know who their case manager is and how to get in contact with them. We fully understand that comprehensive distance learning is not the same as brick and mortar seat time where we can sit down with students one-on-one and help work through things and support them. But we want you to know that we are going to do everything that we possibly can to make sure that your students get as much support as they need to get through this. The questions that we will be addressing today is, what will these services look like in the CDL model? What tools and supports are available out there, not just for the students, but also for the parents, and how can they be accessed? And who is your go-to person if you have any questions or concerns? Every student with an IEP is assigned to a case manager. Your case manager is your go-to person, not only for their IEP, but for any issues that come up during CDL or even when we return to brick and mortar school. That includes schedules, issues with a teacher or their class, issues with how accommodations are being implemented in the classroom. Any concerns that you have, the case manager is going to be your go-to person. We are going to be available during office hours and also via email. And in the afternoons, we will have time set aside where we can meet with parents. We can do one-on-one chats with students. We can have Google Meets so that we can problem solve any issues that come up. At Putnam High School, there are many case managers. James Galden, Jean Wassel, Noah Adler, and Stephanie Kreitz, that's me, are the resource room case managers. We have Lindsay Levinson-Marks, who is our speech pathologist. Laura Crutcher and Carolyn Yurkovich work in the Structured Learning Center for Academics, sometimes known as Life Skills class. Giles Malator is our TLC teacher who works in, that's the Teaching and Learning Center with a focus on behavior. And Susan Dickens is our school psychologist. During a general brick and mortar regular school year, there are several program models that we have in high school. You can read through these slides. And if you have any questions about any of them, please feel free to ask. But for our intents and purposes, we're going to be doing things a little bit differently with the CDL model. And so I want to make sure that we focus on that. Students in the CDL model are going to have one or more support classes. Your classes reflect what you forecasted for in the spring. We have 8 periods that are split out over 2 quarters. So you will have 4 the first quarter until, I believe it's November 11th. And then after that, until the end of January, you will have second quarter classes. There's a slide here about the TLC, the Transitional Learning Center, with a focus on behavior. You can read through this slide on your own if that pertains to you. The same with the Structured Learning Center for Academics. One of the things that came up for me when we went to the CDL model was administrators and the state of Oregon throwing around different terms that I wasn't quite sure what they meant. So we wanted to make sure that everybody understands what synchronous and asynchronous means. Synchronous means that you are live on the computer in a virtual meet with all the other students in your class, with the teacher facilitating and working on projects or working on curriculum. Asynchronous is what we used to call independent study. So asynchronous means that you are not live. This is independent practice or skills that you're going to be working on in the afternoon or the evening after your classes are over in the morning. Special education services here and our supports for specially designed instruction are going to be heavily weighted towards the synchronous. We are going to have multiple opportunities to virtually meet one-on-one with students or in small groups to get kids the support that they need. We wanted to point out a couple of accommodations that any student can add to their Google that might be really great tools to help when you're doing your assignments. And if you go to the Google store, you can type in Google Read and Write, and you will get a little icon that looks like this purple puzzle piece. If you download that extension, it's the Google extension store. And if you download that Google extension, you will have access to what we call Google Read and Write. Google Read and Write is a tool that you can use. You can highlight, if your teacher sends you an article to read, you can highlight that article and it will read it out loud to you. If you are reading through an article and you're reading it fine by yourself, but you want to highlight information, you can highlight, and at the end, it will take all the pieces that you highlighted and put them into one spot so that you can easily go back and look at that information if you're writing a report. And it is available for multiple languages. So if you are reading something if you're reading something in Spanish or you want it translated, I believe that it will do that as well. Another extension that you might want to download is what we call Equatio. That's Equatio. And this basically does the same thing as the Google Read and Write, only for math. So you can write out or type in a word problem and it will create a math equation for you. It is a great tool for helping side by side with the math when you're doing your math homework. You can take a screenshot if your teacher gives you an equation and you're not quite sure what you're supposed to do or how to read it. You can take a screenshot of that and it will convert it into an accessible math problem, which you can then have it read out loud to you and it will make more sense. And if you need help navigating through either of those, you can certainly contact your learning specialist, your case manager, and they can help you get through that. For IEPs and eligibilities this year, we are going to be reviewing all IEPs in the context of CDL. IEP meetings are going to be held just like they have always been held, at least once a year. With 3-year reevaluations done on schedule. Those IEP meetings are going to be held at different times. Generally, Wednesdays, we don't have any students present, and many of those IEPs would be held on Wednesday, but we will be calling parents and working with you as well to make sure that we have a convenient time for everybody. IEPs are going to be written in consideration of CDL and a return to in-person learning, so that we don't have to rehold meetings. So if we hold a meeting while we're in CDL and maybe the specially designed instruction time might be a little bit different than if we were in a classroom here at the brick and mortar for 87 minutes, we would write that into the IEP so that when we return to the building, we don't have to sit down and rehold more meetings because we know that your time is valuable as well. If you ever have a question or concern about how your services and accommodations are going to be implemented, as I said at the beginning, please contact the case manager. We're here to help you. We can help with schedules. We can help with classes. If teachers are not responding in a timely manner because they have 300 kids that they're trying to navigate through the computer. If you have any questions about anything, you just need to let us know, and we will work to solve the problem and get you a resolution that you feel comfortable with. Evaluations this year, if your student is due for a 3-year reevaluation, or any evaluations that were delayed last spring, those are going to be the first priority. But any IEPs that are a 3-year reevaluation, generally what we would be doing is using a file review and observations that we know of your student from time that we've had in the past working with them. If a 3-year reevaluation needs more data, or we need to do a standardized assessment to do the reevaluation, we're going to be the district is going to be setting up a time to do that, and a place to do that where we can do it safely. So that information will be coming out later on. And if your student is due for a 3-year reevaluation, when we contact you to have that meeting, we will talk to you about that and what would best fit for your student. So the service delivery model at high school for the CDL. Students are going to have, all the students at Putnam who have an IEP are going to have a support class. If they have math goals, they would have their math class, and they will have a math support class. If they have language arts goals, reading or writing, they will have a language arts support class during the same quarter that they have that class. They will get support there. We also have office hours where students are going to be able to access support depending on their IEP or their current performance. So just because a student has goals for math, if they need help with their history, we're here to help them. We have office hours. We have a schedule for instructional assistants in the afternoons. They're going to be available all afternoon, as are we, to help students as things come up. The instructional assistants are going to be going into the classes as they're being taught in the morning, so they know what's going on. They know the curriculum. They will be able to help your student in the afternoon if they need help on economics or history or physics or chemistry. The specially designed instruction or other support might be scheduled during the asynchronous time if it aligns with that content area. And so what that means is, if a student with a math goal is getting support from their math teacher, one-on-one support from their math teacher during the asynchronous time in the afternoon, that also is part of the specially designed instruction. Again, the specially designed instruction is going to be heavily weighted towards synchronous or live online classes. So if a student needs help with something, we will be available to do either a group meet, Google Meet. They can get support during our office hours, during their class that they have with us, their support class that they have with us. Or they can drop into one of the afternoon sessions with the IAs, the instructional assistants, and get support there. There's going to be very, very little asynchronous time, meaning independent time, to get specially designed instruction, because it makes more sense to do it live one-on-one based on what the student needs and what their IEP goals are. So I wanted to get to the heart of our presentation, and that is going to be the schedule. By now, you've all seen this schedule. Until further notice, this is going to be the schedule that we have for everybody in the building. On Monday, in the morning, on Monday, period 1, 8:30 to 9:30 for 1 hour, you're going to have your class. And then from 9:30 to 10, you can stay in that class in the same link, and that's the teacher's office hours. So for instance, if you have chemistry period 1, you go to the class from 8:30 to 9:30 and the teacher's teaching. The teacher is then going to stay there from 9:30 to 10 for questions, to help you if you didn't understand something, to kind of guide you through stuff. So you're basically going to have an hour and a half to learn the lesson and get questions answered if you need to. And then at 10:15, you will have another period 3 where, for instance, maybe it's art class. So you will log into your art class, you'll go to your class, and then your teacher will hang out from 11:15 to 11:45, another half an hour, so that you can have questions answered. So that's what office hours are, and that's how they work. Then every day you get lunch break from 11:45 to 12:30, so you have 45 minutes. And then in the afternoon, you will have, in the afternoon, you'll have asynchronous or independent time. So these are the times where your teacher will maybe put an assignment into Google Classroom, and you'll have to log into your Google Classroom and click on that assignment and fill out the paper or fill out the test and then submit it just like you've done in the past. You guys have all used Google Classroom in some form or another in years past, and you know how to do that. So that's what's going to take place in the afternoon. On Tuesday, you're going to have period 2 and period 4, and it works the same way. So period 2, again, 8:30 to 9:30, and then from 9:30 to 10, that extra half an hour at the end, you can stay in that class and you can ask the teacher questions if you didn't understand something. You could maybe start working on your homework assignment and have the teacher present there where they could answer questions or kind of guide you through it. And the same thing with period 4. And then in the afternoon, you're going to have the asynchronous learning where you can go into your classes and and that's pretty flexible. So you can do those Google Classroom assignments at any point after 11:45, as long as you have them done by the next time the class meets. So on Monday, if you have periods 1 and 3, you could, in the afternoon, you could sit and watch soap operas and not do anything until 9 o'clock at night. That's okay, as long as you get whatever work is due done before you meet with the class on Thursday. Again, attendance in those classes is mandatory, and they will be taking attendance. And then on Wednesday, you have no classes except from 9:45 to 10:30 that we are adding what we call a community and connection class. This is like the old advisory groups or homeroom groups. It's a group of students that's going to meet with the teacher. Every teacher is going to have a group of students. Some of the students you're going to know, some of the students you aren't going to know. You might really know your teacher well for that. You might not have ever met your teacher. We have many new teachers in the building. But that class on Wednesday from 9:45 to 10:30 is going to be where we give you announcements, where we walk you through the procedures. If Google is adding new extensions and new features and supports to their programs all the time, if something new comes out, that would be where we would show you how to do that and walk you through it. Every single Wednesday, the teachers are going to have a little small lesson plan where we're going to be giving you that instruction and kind of walking you through any new information that comes up. Again, giving you announcements, just doing some community building so that we all feel connected. I know that that's been a big issue for so many of us, is that during the CDL, there's no way to connect with each other, which is what makes Putnam such a great community, is that when we're here at the building, we can see our friends, we can talk to our teachers, we can laugh in the halls, we can, make those connections. We don't have that with CDL. That class, Community and Connections, is the place for that to happen. So the last slide is, and this will be on the presentation, and you'll be able to see this on the recording. This is the schedule for the instructional assistants in the afternoon, so that if you need any support, so on Mondays, for instance, if you need help specific to history or government at 12:30, from 12:30 to 1:15, you can log in to the link. There will be a link provided. We're going to be sending these links out to everyone. You can click on the link, you can go in there, and there will be somebody there specific to help you with your world history or government. At the same time, there's going to be an open, you can see there right under, you can see open A SDI or open B SDI. What that means is if you have a question that comes up about health or about art or about culinary arts or about automotive, you could click in there and just ask general questions. As we go through this year, as we start next week, we will be reviewing this again with all of our students and showing them how to access these links and where to go when they need help. So if it's confusing right now or you're still kind of not sure, that's okay. There's a lot of confusion that's going on around CDL. We get it. But we just wanted to give you an overview of how we're going to be supporting our students with IEPs here at Putnam this year during this CDL model. We're here from 7:45 to 3:45 every day. Most of us live on our computers, so if anything comes up, you can always email us. You can log into our office hours. You can log into one of the, the students can log into one of these support systems so that they can access the support that they need for their other classes. The one thing I would caution parents about is these afternoon sessions with the instructional assistants are for the students. The instructional assistants will not be able to answer any questions about IEPs. They will not be able to answer any questions about teachers' curriculum or how they're implementing accommodations and modifications. So we want to be respectful of the instructional assistants and not put them in a position of having to answer questions that they don't know the answer to or that legally they shouldn't be answering. So if parents have any questions, please let one of us know, let your learning specialist know, and we can set up a Google Meets and talk you through that. But these afternoon sessions for the instructional assistants are strictly for the students. So again, I know that this is a lot of information to take in. You've been getting bombarded with emails from not only from the district, but from teachers, also from the administration here at the building. The one thing I would close with is students, every single day, you should be logging into your Google Classes, look up at the tab and you know where it is. Your teachers are going to be sending emails, a lot of information through emails, parents as well. We're going to include you in those too. But you need to start reading your emails. And I know last year we had a lot of kids that when I would log into their student view, I would see that they had 247 messages that had been unread. They never read them from the teacher. Your teachers are going to be sending a lot of information through email, so you need to be reading your emails every single day. Again, thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, please contact the learning specialist. We hope to have a great year. We know we're going to have a great year. We're here to support you. Thank you, and we'll see you on Monday.